As we were discussing in the short, you and I all are not able to be our lovely selves or live that best life ever until we reclaim all parts of ourselves. But it's not only reclaiming, it's also choosing self awareness, accountability, and regulation skills. What type of skills? Well, the ones that say, I'm going to get out of any of that which is childhood trauma, and that would mean also getting earned secure attachment. Until you don't have in the awareness of your lens if you have secure attachment or not, there's a equation. Okay, and that's the part of what I've noticed. People, they hear about this, they think it's not a big deal, and then they like to go on Elsa journeys. So they don't claim their own emotional plane by going to their inner child, becoming the adult version, because when they're in silence, they don't know how to harness their own open heartedness. Why? Because your heart, if it can't stay open with people and in a world that has uncertainty, unexpected, and unwanted, you're not going to go with the flow, which is why those three main modules of the inner growth program involve all of that. Alchemizing is the capacity for your brain, the one that you think with, not anything else, which is why it is important to understand your thoughts always follow. Emotions come first. None of us are thinkers, first of all. We are emotional, first of all. In fact, a divine feminine is only impressed by those who are divine feminines, because a divine feminine will know one when we see one. They will be someone who knows how to say, hey, I got emotions going on. And then they don't say, God abandoned me, devil's winning, humans suck, da 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 da. No, that's not what comes out of their mouth. The human love narrative, and those who do know about Jesus and God and spirituality, we all know how to use our brain in the way of flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. It's why the 5D collective is here. So our partying is not that which is a maladaptive child behavior pattern, the drinking, drugging, fucking, all that stuff that people actively, I mean, I saw teenagers think it was cool. I understood because they were mature. Now I'm a grown up, and I noticed that not only do teenagers still have bad examples, there are actively people who support those bad examples, but we don't have to go to extremes either. I mean, Demolition Man was really horrible. I would not want to be up in the surface without being able to curse. I curse sometimes. It's like, come on, creatorship. So, in an effort to ensure balance, let's talk about the home, because a divine feminine who has healthy self-worth will say, hey, I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. I'm solo polyamory. I have a bunch of twin flames and soulmates. It ain't the only one for me. You know, stuff like that. Ariel got a tail. Dad who's pissy won't let me come to the surface. I'm saying you wield your own life like the chariot always, not just sometimes. That's when you're ready for 5D spiritual self-help here at IHP. Until that moment, you're going to want to go first to get good therapy, because that way you can learn how to self-regulate. Now, I learned self-regulation because I have a 1-year-old who has secure attachment. That's why I didn't lose my divine feminine or my divine masculine. I know how to give myself a hug, and then I know how to chit-chat to myself. It's called healthy self-worth, okay? And then you can offer to somebody else that same ability. That compassionate home is first here and then there. And that's why the best life is the right use of power, not in the way of Cusco's. The teenagers are really annoying, and they're a small, narrow piece of energy. Yeah. So a mystic who's a divine feminine can tell you all about what succulent is. It's not a person who's a Cusco. Anyone who's a Cusco will not know how to trust their gut because they never get home to their self. So they don't know the truth. You know what the truth is? There's no need to blame Lucifer. I can't believe they're actively calling New Age Luciferian. This one woman, she's a mystic, she's a channeler, and she actively used this word. And I'm like, way to continue with some ancient stories. So here's what I'm going to share with you all. The magic of your brain is the active participation of your heart and your gut. And you know what happens when people don't know about their childhood trauma? They can't see over anything, and their body and their mind is not in harmony. So you're going to bring to me your 0-1-year-old attached panicky with a 3-7 shame submissive story based on the lost boys, lost girls who follow Peter Pan. Okay, so those people, when they come near anyone who's an active, expanding and expanded piece of consciousness, and we're going to recognize them. But let me put that one to the side, and let's conclude with what I was going to particularly talk about. So if you don't recognize the desire, the willingness, the wanting to become a self-regulator of your embodied brain, your nervous system, one, IHP is not for you, that's for sure, because we do mindfulness, mindsight, and mindset. And that's with the inner growth. So you being able to deal with uncertainty and unexpected from within while going with the flow means you don't call your emotions laundry. Oh, and they're not irrefutable facts. And you actively don't say, I think first. You actively understand, no, I have feelings and thoughts. They serve the life of me. Here's where your mystic comes into the play and the mix, but without an Elsa journey mantle. Your clairs don't make you more special. They don't make anyone more special. We're all special. We're all children of the same God. And unfortunately, they're using that word in other ways, but the essence of love and life is what God was always to me and what my catechism brought to me. Jesus continued to support that when I got taught of him. The only reason I did do my confirmation is because I promised to unconditionally love my brothers and sisters and to turn another cheek and to forgive. That's very easy for a person who has healthy self-worth, because when I say no, I'm not saying no out of spite, envy, jealousy. No, I'm telling you no because that's my answer. You don't like it? I have a tail, Eric. You can leave. I'm not giving up my voice because you don't like my tail. You're ridiculous, man, woman, they. Did you not know what love is? Let me tell you. Gabor Mate, come on in. It's being accepted exactly as you are. It's allowing you to not have to work one day of your life for love and, all your 6 basic human emotions. So if you didn't get that child-centric environment, I'm so sorry. Go to therapy first. When you're ready to love, you can come on over. Those who romanticize or demonize any of that human suffering stuff, well, again, they won't be appreciative of the Jacob personality, because objective is, I have science and spirituality, lead me to the same answer. You can be a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating person, and your embodied brain is already trying to get you home to yourself, your birthright. Thank you, smart people that teach me things. Dr. Daniel Siegel, in this case, also said guru, and a lot more. And here, life. Life is life. Life is not about fame. Life is not about wealth. Life is just about life. Life is all that we have. Rest is all an illusion. Life is life. Whatever you do, it is the way you do it that transforms you. This is our Sadhguru. Unless you constantly strive to be better, you will become a stagnant pool. Stagnation will ultimately poison your life. Now let me describe what he's talking about. If your intellectual brain does not know how to process emotions, and like that Zen master who calls it laundry, yes, you stagnate like the Zen master does. He's stagnating because he doesn't actively work to say, when I get sad, I can do something different. When I get mad, I can do something different. When I get surprised, I can do something different. When I get fear, I can do something different. When I get, there's another one, disgusted, I can do something different. What's the different? The way I think about it, the way I process what comes up. Doesn't change it. No, it still came up. It's not laundry, though. You giving the word laundry to it tells me you're stagnating in a pool. So whenever you got laundry going on, that's all you do. You got non-creative, Zen master. In fact, you're not enlightening. That's why you actively will share in a screen that people cannot consistently be in enlightenment, while I see smart neuroscientists who explain how the flow state works, and I can tell it to you. So bliss is very easily accessible to those who do tap into the divine feminine of you and the divine masculine. Then I call this the masculine, this the feminine. And I feel like a silly person who's using words right now to try and tell you, be yourself, like I've been saying for a while. But now I know how to explain. If you don't want to be yourself, there's therapy first, and then you can come and do true spirituality, which is a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. And in fact, one thing is very clear: the ones who don't want to learn to self-regulate by being able to work with the emotions that arise and to get home to their 1-year-old. This is very important. They don't actively understand concepts that I'm going to try and explain to you in another episode. Sadhguru spoke these words a couple days ago. I'm not interested in you seeking God. I'm interested in you becoming God-like. Now, the God-like is a small word. Anyone who has a faith that uses the word God in a very rigid way will not appreciate these types of sentences. Let me explain to you, because Sadhguru doesn't have the psych education. I do. When you are consistently in a state of pure consciousness, thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, come on in. So you have an integrated brain like mine. You have a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating brain like here, your host. You can actively stand in compassion. You can actively be in your ventral vagal state. You can actively work with a panic attack while you're out uncomfortably being uncomfortable without making it seem like you've done some special gift, because it's not a special gift. It's your active participation in mindful listening and mindfulness practices, words that I see people prancing around with, and they look like Elsa on her journey. Show yourself. They consistently are in a default mode network that has not gotten beyond their 0 1 year old or their 3 year old seeking for somebody to say, oh, you did a great job. It's not about the herd. The herd, yes, let's all get together and celebrate. But when you're by yourself, can you celebrate in the same exact blissfulness way? Or are you waiting for somebody else to come celebrate you so that you can be enriched by that, which is the essence of you? Okay, so that's where enlightenment is. You are enriched by you or not. 24 hours, you wake up. Are you enriched? Yes, no. This is why we're not going to keep some human being by a leash. You can't find meaning with your secondary human consciousness, then you don't know how to use your brain. It's called being mindfully aware and then working again with these emotions. Anyone who wants to tell me about human suffering, I've heard it all. I can explain it to you all. Yes, go to the Zen master. He's over there somewhere. But this godlike thing, it's about your birthright. So science is, as my lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel shares with integration of brain, the attachment style, and he tells me the categories, not the style. Style is a whole different thing. In all ways, cases, and forms. You want to enjoy life, you work to get home to your inner child. Become the adult, so reparent. Now you see you. Now you soothe you. Now you safe you. Now you secure you. And then come enjoy life. And that means you enjoy enrichment. Not everybody wants to. Like the avoidant attachment lady said, I'm not going to do journaling, mindfulness, meditation. It's boring. I don't want to. Plus, people are fucked up. You got attachment coaches telling people that secure attachment is boring. Just saying, they chose those words. So they think actively that getting to their securely attached, equanimous, no ill will is boring. I laugh because it's not funny. I actively think your gut is a bad gut. If you hear Gabor Mate, he tells you why gut is bad. And people who take it out of context is because they don't understand that the healthy self-worth person knows what a good gut is. It's called, if you don't have healthy boundaries, I'm going to notice it. And then I get practiced into not hanging out with anyone who's going to be a squirrel from Cusco land or Isma. Why? Because I'm going to notice that you're not the real deal. You're not in life to have life. You have stuff that you're going to want to deal with first. It's not because of energy vampires, dark auras, or any demonizing or romanticizing the story. It's that a healthy self-worth man, woman, or they is intellectually, emotionally, and physically enjoying what is pure consciousness. It's called smart people with sense of humor, no chips on their shoulder. It's actively you speaking a mouth that is committed to what you're speaking. It's actively knowing that we all have flaws, but we all have integrity. So the good gut, you will notice if you have a good gut or not, because you'll notice what surrounds you. If you notice it with compassion towards yourself, you're going to have a relationship with yourself because you're going to have the capacity to see beyond the fray, which is I'm not going to take it personally if I notice my herd. And I'm not like, no, I'm going to say, okay, what do I see here with my eyes? I spy with my little eyes. I want to be my authentic self. Am I not? Okay. If you are, then it means you're in your social engagement system. You're always happy to be you. And that means with the community, doesn't matter if they tease you, don't tease you. Don't take things personally. That's when your true spirituality is on, one. And it's also when you're a functional adult. So you're not going to be like, oh my God, they offended me, which makes me think of my teenage friends. I was in that boat, yes, but I learned how then to say, no, I don't want to be in the boat because they can have a sense of humor and I can let it go. So that infinite possibility is emotional. It's not the thoughts. You will notice here when you say, I write my fate, my destiny, and so does everybody else, which is why we don't have a saga or a drama with our twin flame or flames. Divine feminine will know you and I are choice points for each other. You will always add to my life and I will always hopefully add to your life. That is, if you enjoy me. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to. I won't be upset, Eric. That's when you don't fear rejection. You don't fear abandonment. You don't fear shame, humiliation. You don't fear any of that which is a childhood wound or trauma break or T small, T big, all of them. So when you don't fear that inadequacy, I didn't fear inadequacy when I saw unkindness from those teenagers. No, I had compassion for me, compassion for them, and then Jesus taught me the way. That's it. The right use of the power was I won't be treating you in any way, shape, or form that is unkind because that would then make me a liar. I won't close my heart because that would make me a liar and it would take away my truth, which is I love life. Why would I stagnate and why would I choose a path that involves no love whatsoever? So again, 5D, spiritual self-help. It's for people who want to love and those who don't understand that first you love yourself, and that means getting home to your inner child, becoming the adult. There's really great attachment trauma information out there. while people with mantles are doing great together as a group, I'm here to say you can be you and you can live that best life. But your inner and outer well being, it's first of all, get home to your 1 year old, get home to a whole 3 year old heart, get home to healthy self worth. Then you'll notice who you have around you, and you'll notice it in an appreciative way. You won't cancel, block people, and get rid of people just because they're different than you. No. Anyone who does that is a narrow piece of consciousness. And at the same time, we won't be around all people. No, you know why? Because if you and I don't match intellectually, we're not going to have interesting things to say to each other. This is something common sense. So when you meet human being grown-ups who don't actively know how to not take it personally when you don't want to befriend them, like situations that I've experienced that you heard the stories about, I'm not going to feel as a woman who's a grown woman any good or bad. It's more of, wow, should I tell them that they need a therapist? No, because that would make me a martyr superior, and I'm not that, and it's none of my business. Plus, the reality is they are actively utilizing their time to create situations that are quite unnecessary. So I'm humored, me, because I get to engage with a person and to the best of my ability. Am I happy to spend an evening with a child? No, I'm not. I've had that happen a multitude of times because when people are out without their inner child being themselves, they're drinking out of misery, and misery will not want company, but they will get buffoonery. And so I've had plenty of situations where it's more like, huh, okay. And when people come and they want to seem that they know what they're talking about, but then they have a bunch of, again, sob stories. So it's very easy to notice the ones who don't want to get themselves into their higher self. They walk around like teenagers, and that's why a divine feminine, we're impressed by other divine feminines. When we meet divine masculines, they might have clairs, they will be like Cusco. So we will definitely be like a Pacha. We don't take our friendship back. We don't do any of that. No, we know how to handle anyone who's actively not being their authentic self. They might want to, they might not. We don't, that's none of our business. You mind your own business as a whole 3 year old heart. And at IHP, we get to enjoy more conversations. So in the meantime, we'll be back with more because the energies are nicely speaking to me. When you claim who you are, it's because you've claimed your inner child. You become the adult emotional version of you. That's why love language is always fun. We don't need boxing gloves. In fact, we know how to safely regulate ourselves, and then we can safely regulate together. Then we have conversations with people, and we support the ones who are getting out of their maladaptive child behavior patterns, psychopathy, sociopathy. We got narcissism. We have our borderline personality group. We have all of those who are actively with good therapists. You'll notice them because they will talk to you about what they're doing. They will have ways to explain to you what split is and black and white thinking, which are very important for you to know because when that happens, they're not aware in that moment. And so the capacity to have people around them who are open-hearted and understand not to demonize or romanticize. So you don't justify behavior. You also don't insult. You actively say, okay, we talked about what we would expect. So, okay, we have this happen. You choose as people, as a herd, we choose together how to support each other to heal from trauma. And that's why relationships are an important part of a person's healing journey. Therapy is one step, but then they need the people who know how to, which is going to grow. But we don't have as many as there could be that are actively understanding how to destigmatize, but also not romanticize. Okay, and that's why you'll meet authenticity, like Kylie, she's healing. Then there's another person who I also have seen online. And then we have people who are speaking sense. And now we're building communities that come together. And so, again, being yourself is what here is all about. And then supporting others to continue being their self. And it's a bunch of different types of practices, including tarot, Akashic record readings here for me to include and integrate. And we're going to have some tarot after because I still have some cards to pull for us. And lastly, reach out if you're curious about our masterclass. It will be a closed number. Reach out if you want one-to-one mentorship. And as for membership content, I'm deciding how to organize that. Also, if you want to donate to support the channel and the content, obviously, and curiosity questions. The part about, like I said, you taking seriously your emotional plane first. So if you wake up suffering, that requires you to expand your window tolerance for you if you want. You don't have to. If you want to do like people who say, ah, humans are fucked up, then you don't want to be a chariot driver of your own self. So you don't have to do anything. But your gut will definitely not be getting any better at picking up how to consistently vibe like an Ariel with a tail in your own voice. It's when you're Ariel with a tail voice and you are regulating as you get told, I don't like you, I don't like you. It's when people will tell you, I don't like you for who you are, that you have the capacity to become more equanimous, not anything less. More equanimous means forgiving, means loving. So you have forgiven your childhood if you had any of that. So you are past the trust breaks. The fourth step to recovery for any of trauma charges, people look for other bystanders to take their side. If you are with a pitchfork and Braveheart, you're still a teenager in the book of a divine feminine who has her divine masculine. So you're a Cusco. And we'll be back again with more. In the meantime, like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy. If you found value, it will help the channel to grow. Also share with people who you know are interested in 5D spiritual self-help, in actual conversations that are supporting us to know no one has to stay within a suffering body. They don't have to. Some people might. Yeah, I've seen them. And that's the part of where we won't be focusing on that other end of the coin, the human suffering love narrative, as for people who are going to consistently address emotions with, they got laundry, like that Zen master. So it is, you choose which language, which verbiage do you appreciate resonates more. Do you resonate with, I have human love in my body and all those 6 basic human emotions that I process, I witness, I want to welcome, and I want to speak. I don't want to vomit a trash can full of energy that is charged and then stay within a stagnating pool of vomit, because that's what those who want to talk about emotions as suffering, they end up every time they're talking, it's with the same energetic matter, which is why at a certain point it isn't anything that weighs anyone who's a human love narrative down, because it's just the same bullshit. It's like a little merry-go-round, but it's a broken record. You know what happens when you have calluses build? You don't pick it up. This is why it's not negative energy in a way of a negative person. It's an active human being who will say, this is my wheel, and it's their karma wheel. It's their first 8 years of life. They got spoken to that way. They got taught to regulate that way. They don't choose to get out of that teenager. And so you got, I'm not even going to bother saying that because they're not that. We'll be back with more again. Thank you for stopping by.